What is good, everybody? AHS Rules back again with another video, and we're here for another Ring of Honor TV review, episode number 52, or better yet, the 1-year anniversary of Ring of Honor on Honor Club, as Ian Riccaboni mentioned tonight on this episode of ROH. Now, I will say this before we get to the review portion. I do have a handful of things to talk about, so if you want to, or you're here strictly for the review, I'll put it in the timestamp in the description. So, thing number one. This is actually thing number one. Anytime that I wear this shirt in a video, I always put out this disclaimer. I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z fan, as you can see the shirt. But I'm a fan of comfortable and cheap shirts on clearance. And this shirt was one of them. And almost all my Dragon Ball Z knowledge comes from Fortnite. So that's thing one. Thing two. I've had an extremely weird day. When I woke up, I turned my TV on and I put it on ESPNU because there was a college basketball marathon going on, back-to-back college basketball games. And the moment I turned my back and then turned to watch the games, there was a black streak on my TV. And I'm like, it might be a part of the commercial. And then the next commercial played and it did not go away. So my TV is a bit messed up. I unplugged it, plugged it back in. I unplugged the cord from the TV, plugged it back in. This has been almost, I don't even know what time that was. It's been a long ass time since I have even tried to mess with that TV again. So long story short, this TV that I've had since 2018 is now messed up. And I am reverting back to a TV that I have had since 2007. And I just find the irony and the funny thing in the TV I have had longer since 2007 has worked longer than the one I've had since 2018. So I don't know what will happen next with my TV troubles, but we shall see. And lastly, this last note does proclaim to Ring of Honor, as it was announced that April 5th, 2024, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, we will see Supercard of Honor return. And the funny thing about this is, anytime ROH makes a pay-per-view poster, they always end up putting their champions on the poster. And so in the case of this, we had the World Champion Eddie Kingston, Women's Champion Athena, TV Champion Kyle Fletcher, Tag Team Champions, the Undisputed Kingdom, the Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta, and the 6-man Tag Team Champions Bullet Club Gold. As always, with all these pay-per-view events, they are card subject to change, but if you remember the Final Battle pay-per-view poster and what I said when they announced Final Battle and the pay-per-view poster, I am willing to tell you a lot of them will not be competing at this event, in my opinion. And, if I'm wrong with that, and they all end up competing, at least we get to see some good action. They also did not note if this is going to be like Final Battle, and it's strictly on Honor Club, but when they did talk about later on in the show, they did say, well, coming soon to Honor Club, Supercard of Honor. So this might be a case where it's strictly on Honor Club. Hopefully that is cleared up in the coming weeks. This kind of proclaims to Supercard of Honor. I know I'm going on and on, but later on they showed the video promo, because originally I was talking about the poster. The video promo showing important moments from Supercard of Honor history. And the three that I remembered them showing were Jay Briscoe versus Samoa Joe, the Hardys versus the Young Bucks, and Jay White versus Kazuchika Okada. Is this a little bit of an Easter egg, a little bit of a teaser? And it's very funny that all the other talent were contracted talent to the current Ring of Honor / AEW product. So, who knows? So, Supercard of Honor was announced. The main thing that I'm just going to keep saying is I hope it's not like Final Battle, and it is just the matches are announced days before. I want a little bit of a better build, so we will see what happens there. But now we're on to this 1-year anniversary episode of Ring of Honor. This was highlighted by a women's title match in the main event and the final 4 matches of the first round of the women's TV title tournament. As I did say last week, if I say the TV title assume that I'm talking about the Women's Division TV title, because saying Women's TV title, sometimes I forget, and sometimes it does get a little bit long. So, let's get to the review, shall we? The first matchup in the Women's TV title tournament, Taya Valkyrie versus Sussy Love. Sussy ducks a clothesline and applies an octopus lock, along with hitting a tope suicida, but a distraction from Johnny TV leads to Taya hitting a powerbomb on the apron. Sussy fights back throughout the match, including a double knee drop for a 2 count, but Taya hits a spear and Shania Payne to pick up the victory. And later on in this review, I will mention the second round matchups that we will be seeing, as the first round will end during this episode, so I don't want to spoil it then, and also I don't have it right in front of me. It'll be on the next page. Next matchup is Lee Johnson versus Sonico. There is no code of honor between the two, and the two exchange roll-ups and followed by drop kicks. A Blue Thunderbomb by Shoddy gets a 2 count, and then he lands a massive forearm and an elevated reverse DDT to pick up the victory. And I don't know if this is official finishing maneuver name, but Caprice Coleman called it the Shot Drop, which is fitting because his nickname is Big Shoddy. Another matchup in the Women's TV title tournament, this one being Red Velvet versus Sandra Moon. I thought it was more, but it is Moon, and it's Moon spelled M-O-O-N-E. Lots of drop kicks and roll-ups from both. Moon lands a drop kick from the top rope for a 2 count. She also lands a Blue Thunderbomb that gets a 2 count. It's very funny that all those notes kind of apply to the last matchup, but we're talking about the next matchup. She also... Red Velvet gets a roll-up for a 2 count. Velvet misses the mix and then is hit with a DDT for a close 2 count. A Casadora driver off the top rope, followed by the mix by Red Velvet. And Red Velvet will be advancing in this tournament. And, you know, if I was to, give a short format for this matchup, Red Velvet got her ass beat the entire match. This matchup, Sandra Moon dominated, and then Red Velvet ended up picking up the victory. I saw this happening as the match was progressing, but it was just very funny that it was a much one-sided matchup that Red Velvet ended up winning, but it doesn't really matter in the end. Next matchup. I was wondering a couple weeks ago, it was months ago now, wasn't even weeks ago, months ago, there was this random ass match on ROH, and it was Brandon Cutler and Colt Cabana in a tag team match. And I'm like, where the hell did they go? Why the hell did I even think of that? Because now they ended up appearing as Brandon Cutler, accompanied by Colt Cabana, faces Danhausen. And, I would say this match was very short, very quick. I tried to make a Danhausen reference. It didn't really work that well. Cutler and Colt can't get their can of cold spray to work, but finally, once they do, they end up spraying each other in the face. Cutler does an airplane spin, but he is more dizzier than Danhausen is after this, and then Danhausen fights with Colt Cabana to get his jar of teeth that he ends up putting in Cutler's mouth and wins the match with a big boot. As now we move on to the Women's TV title tournament. Once again, this matchup being Abaddon versus Via Van. The two taunt each other to start the match. Van uses lots of submission attempts, while Abaddon uses a lot of clotheslines and drop kicks, and then resorts to biting. And then Abaddon wins the matchup with the Black Dior, which is a DDT. It's essentially a DDT. I don't know that that's the best way to describe it. Next matchup is Anthony Henry versus All Ego Ethan Page. Back and forth early, with Henry targeting the left shoulder of Page, making it difficult for him to hit an Ego's edge, but it does not stop him from hitting a headshot that helps him pick up the victory. I'll go ahead and mention it now, because it happens later on the show. Ethan Page has a backstage interview with Lexi Nair, and essentially, he's talked about it for months and months that he wants championship gold, and the gold that he has set his eyes on and thinks that he should become is the television champion. But oddly enough, Kyle Fletcher, who is the television champion, stopped showing up. Now there's rumors out there that he's having travel issues that was not addressed here, but that's the rumors going on now. So it's, again, I'm glad that at least Ethan Page is like, yeah, I want the TV title. But also, he has said he wants any championship in Ring of Honor, and there's lots to choose from, and the one that, is probably the most difficult to get now due to the travel issues, he's just going to have to keep waiting. So we will see what happens with that. As now we have the final matchup in the first round of the Women's TV title tournament. This one being Robin Renegade versus Billie Starkz. Back and forth early with lots of chops and slaps and forearms from both. Starkz dives to the outside twice, and then on the third attempt gets caught by Robin that slams her into the apron. Robin hits a powerbomb on the outside, but Starkz is able to win the matchup with a hammer neck vice. Commentator said, I just would have copped out and said a crossed face chicken wing. As now, if you really want to know who advanced into the TV title tournament into round 2 and the matchups that we will be getting, assumingly next week, maybe. I don't know. They didn't say, hey, next week, round 2. But the round 2 matchups include Billie Starkz versus Diamante, Mercedes Martinez versus Abaddon, Legit Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet, and Queen Aminata versus Taya Valkyrie. Next matchup is a 4-corner survival. AR Fox versus Matt Sydal versus Commander versus a debuting Exodus Prime. And I'll always say this. When Ring of Honor puts on these 4-corner survival matchups, I'll be the asshole to say it. They're not 4-corner survival. They're just fatal 4-way matches. Everybody gets involved. A 4-corner survival match, you'd have to tag in. That is never the case. I'm not really complaining about that. But I will say, the 4-corner survival matchups always deliver, but there are always a lot of craziness and chaos that happens that sometimes I feel my reviews and descriptions don't describe it best. So I'm going to apologize for that, but I am going to do my darndest to do it in this matchup. Mainly, we get Commander versus Sydal in the start of this until AR Fox inserts himself with cutters on both. Then Sydal takes on both, hitting a moonsault on Fox. Everin puts a submission hold on Prime, which commentary then wonders who the hell would win the matchup if he tagged out. If I was to choose, I would have said AR Fox because he was the first one to apply a submission hold on him. Commander puts Sydal in a surfboard while on the apron, and that leads to Fox diving over both to land onto Prime. Sydal lands a Meteora on the apron onto Commander. Commander then lands a moonsault on Sydal for a 2 count. We get a 450 splash by Fox that also gets a 2 count, and then Commander hits a running top rope shooting star press onto Prime to pick up the victory. And it almost seems that every time Commander is in a 4-corner survival match, he ends up winning. I know definitely the last one he was in, and the one before this one, he ended up winning. As now it is time for our main event matchup, a match weeks in the making. For the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, a 2 out of 3 falls tables match between Athena and Nyla Rose. For weeks and weeks, Nyla Rose has gotten the upper hand with Athena, mainly via putting her through tables. And in this matchup, we know at least 2 tables will be broken because it is a 2 out of 3 falls match, as mentioned. Athena tries to make this a fast-paced match early, but this comes back to bite her as Nyla quickly powerbombs her through a table, leading to a 1-0 Nyla start. More damage is done to Athena as she is chokeslammed onto the apron and then eventually hit with a cannonball. Athena tries to take advantage once Nyla runs into the guardrail. Athena fights out of the chokeslam off of the apron and sets herself up to hit an O-face that sends Nyla falling through a table on the outside, and we are now tied 1-1. Athena struggles to lift Nyla up with the two fighting on the apron then. Athena is able to power Nyla up. This was extremely impressive, and pushes her off of her shoulders and through a table to retain her women's championship 2-1 Athena. So, like I said, I was looking forward to this matchup because it was the story was what's the best way I can describe it? It was a good build to a story, and it was a matchup that I was looking forward to for weeks, and the matchup ended up delivering. So I would recommend you seek this match out. So I have no clue what to expect for next week's episode of Ring of Honor. If I was to think, I would imagine matches in this women's TV title tournament. But overall, I did enjoy this episode of Ring of Honor, so hopefully that continues. Like I said, Supercard of Honor announced for April 5th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Let's start the road and the build to that now. I think we're going to have to wait till after AEW Revolution, which is next Sunday. Before that, they put more attention and eyes on the Supercard of Honor, but we shall see. So again, thank you for watching this episode. Please like and subscribe. And I will say this. This is something that is very rare. This is my first take in doing this. Normally, I stutter, struggle, and I just hit the reset button. One take. It took one damn take. Good for me. Again, thank you for watching. Stay safe. Like and subscribe. I just might have spit all over my... I thought I spit all over my camera. I didn't. Let's end the video. Thank you for watching again. See you in the next one.